Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the GAIA Daily for February 18th through 21st, 2022. Well, a big shift of energy today with the sun moving over into Pisces. We have Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. So the sun in Pisces is bringing a very powerful energy of emotions and spirituality. Because we've had such a weird, dark winter retrograde, whether you're in whatever hemisphere, this retrograde season, we've just been kind of getting through this intensity. And now the emotions are coming to the surface. Feelings of overwhelm, of kind of like, oh man, the journey has gone on a long time. And a feeling of weariness from all of these personal planets in conjunction to Pluto, all the way back till the second week of December. So the pressure continues. The Capricorn has an energy. It has like a heaviness, a pressure, and especially with Pluto involved. And it's interesting though, because Mars and Venus are together now, and they're heading into Venus's third and final conjunction with Pluto, or the first one was kind of like one long one, but her final conjunction with Pluto, completing the retrograde energy, and Mars joining her there. So it's a very interesting dynamic, because there's this incredible pressure on, and we know it has to do with the changes that need to be made in our life and our psyche and our world in order to move forward into the Aquarian age. Very powerful messages with the Mercury retrograde going from, into Aquarius, back into Capricorn, back into Aquarius. What is it? What do we need to rethink? Change and shift in our perspective in order to get in tune and get in alignment with the optimal timeline and the Aquarian age, this new energy, our new age. What's going on? It's all this stuff saying we got this new, and we just are stuck at this immobilization place. It feels like forever. But eventually, what goes up must come down, and it will shift, and there's no avoiding where we're going. Nothing can stop what's happening, and what that is a spiritual awakening, and I'm sure you can feel it. This is the message that's coming through for supernova souls right now. Whatever's happening to you, because with this Capricorn bloom, it depends on your chart and your relationship to Saturn in your chart, the ruler of Capricorn. But there's an energy of feeling like you're coming up against laws, rules, restriction, 3D, red tape, the man, things, obstacles working against you. But we're coming to a place, this is really important, as we are in this divergent place of like trying to heal duality consciousness. And I think that's what this Venus-Mars conjunction is about. But as we come to this place of divergent dualities, eventually you find your way, if you go all the way to the side, you can go back around and meet together. And we have to understand that we're at the place in this portal, at this dimensional stage, where whatever is happening, whether it's positive or negative, seemingly in what we're experiencing in our life, it's all working for us. And this is a powerful fundamental shift that can really help in these strange times, because this is a massive squeeze. There's a massive bloom of control energy going on. It's like the last gasp of the multi-headed globalist satanic monster that's been in control of the earth for far too long. And so it's our opportunity to kind of, I guess that's maybe the ticket, the key mentally, and our perspective around our opportunity to get out of duality thinking right now has to do with letting everything that's happening be without judgment. Like it's, it's like, it's very clear, because you know how we have things happen in our life and it's like, oh, this really sucks. But then a little bit later, it could be the next day or hour or years down the road where you're like, that was a good thing. I didn't like it at the time. And so can we be there? Can we be this? Like, because we're in the vortex, it's like the acceleration is happening. Nothing can hold it back anymore. So that means that everything's happening is part of that, right? And so this is a powerful energetic shift into use the opposition energies, like art of war. Like the more that comes at you, the more ammunition you have to take your power back. Because it's like, well, this is working for, nothing can happen right now that's not for evolution. Even if it looks like it's against evolution, it's for evolution, because we're in that portal, or we're accelerated, we're moving, and that's happening. So your vibrational energy with that can really help with the internal subconscious resistance that's coming up, and maybe the fears of being attacked, and that kind of energy that's going on right now. There's an energy of being in the wilderness. Like this is a testing time. And I don't even really believe in that testing time, but it's like maybe our own preparation of getting out of our own resistance. But what a powerful place to take, powerful way to take your power back. Be like, even if, you're under direct attack from a seemingly negative force, that still may be working towards your evolution. And just take it and move on. Take it and move on, and say, I'm not standing down. I'm not backing down. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to use it. And, so enemies beware. You're strengthening, this. And then there's this kind of corresponding other concept that's coming through around being able to step back and see the bigger picture of what it is we're doing here, and try to have, on any tiny little bit of level you can manage, an appreciation, a gratitude, and for this opportunity, right? Instead of like, oh my gosh, I have to go through this. How am I ever going to get out of this Earth matrix trap? Like, but how about I get to do this? I get to be here right now. I get to have this experience, whatever it is, because it's all leading us to the inevitable shift into righteousness and making the world right again, and the flip, and our new age, and the golden age, our wealth revolution, all of it. Nothing can stop it. And so these energies can help us get in the mindset and get out of our own, because what's going on is there's a bloom of external control, but this is actually saying that it's like that last hold energy of like, the bloom of external control is a message that they're losing control, and time for us to run and take our power back and run with it. So our attitude shift. And like, yes, it's exhausting and I don't know how I'm going to make it, but I'm a warrior and I came here for this. And so everything you throw at me is only going to make me stronger and give me ammunition to get to where, to complete this mission. Which it feels like we've just crossed a point where it's clear that things are progressing energetically in a very rapid way. And so we'll just see what that looks like as we have this. We're in a fallout right now. We've had 3 months of intense personal planets in conjunction to Pluto. Now we have the last one, and it's Mars and Venus and Vesta together. And it's like, okay, so we've had boom, 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 right? And it's like, now we have to assess the damage. It's like, and it's like a fallout. We have to see what is the effect of this. And I have to say that as we feel into this Pluto squeeze and this intensity, it's like we weren't really feeling that those personal planets and Pluto while the retrogrades were happening. And now that we're coming out of it, now we're having the effect and the fallout. And it's interesting because now the sun in Pisces, very emotional, bringing everything to the surface. And so we'll see what this is about. But Pluto, really interesting because this heaviness that we're feeling, we'll have to explore this as we go. Now, Pluto, Mars, Venus, and Vesta come together with Pluto on the 3rd of March. There's a new moon in Pisces on the 2nd of March. So right there, it's a very, very powerful energy. Mercury will be with Saturn, and Jupiter will be with the sun and the moon. So I don't know if I've ever seen so many conjunctions at one time. And for a new moon in Pisces. And so it's a new start to our spiritual life. It's a spiritual rebirth is what's coming. Now, this Mars, and we're really feeling the Pluto energy with Mars and Venus coming to Pluto, though. And Pluto has this, it's interesting, the name of Pluto, right? Plutonium. And Pluto is such a weird planet because it's like, oh, it's this tiny planet and it was demoted. It's not a planet anymore. And so it's about power and disempowerment and your power being taken from you, false power structures in Capricorn, but fear of our own power and our psychic power. And there's a radioactive energy this is on the table right now. It's like there's something going on with clearing the karma of use of nuclear weapons and radioactive or nuclear power and nuclear weapons. And it's like that's got to be undone. But we're having a bloom of it. Like we're all being radiated, actually. We're all being microwaved right now. And so Pluto, it's really, I don't know what it means, but I just thought I'd bring it up because the heaviness of Pluto very much fits the signature energy of radioactive materials. They're like super heavy. They're super concentrated. They have that half-life where they kind of like bury themselves in rocks and have this like density, like, so very much like what happens in stardust and stars with supernova process. I guess it would be a nuclear implosion. So it's kind of like we're coming full circle in our evolution, right? Because it's an end game when you're going to push that button and create a nuclear war. And we know we've evolved beyond this. But still, there's some of the stuff that needs to be played out. And what is the role of radiation in our evolution? So anyway, interesting coming forward because that energy of Pluto is really this. It's like this density building with so much potential energy unused, our power that hasn't been used. So that'll be really interesting to see how this unfolds. We've got, not until the 3rd is when that final conjunction is. And then Mars and Venus will move over together into Aquarius in that first week of March. So that'll be a big shift there. So this week, what we're feeling is Jupiter in Pisces, amplified. Now the sun's in Pisces, in sextile to Uranus in Taurus. And this is super sweet transit. It's exact this week, but we feel it all month. And Jupiter in Pisces is trying to expand into spirituality and into the dream and into the vision and to a feeling of connection. And so Uranus is in Taurus, and Uranus is a revolutionary planet. It's about awakening and a quickening and an activation. And in Taurus, it's an activation of wealth and values. And so it's a spiritual awakening, is what this sextile is. It's like it's bringing the Jupiter in Pisces to a new level, an activation. It's an energy of spiritual revival, and we are ripe for a revival. Before we know, or I had mentioned that the Pluto US chart is having a Pluto return, and this is goes right along with all of these themes. And it kind of brings to mind like what led up to the American Revolution was the oppression of England, of course, but it was there was a spiritual revival and a moral spiritual revival. And it was kind of like understanding that spirituality, didn't have to be in rules with a certain pastor in a certain church. It's like spirituality is available for all of us. And so we're due and ripe for another spiritual revival. And that's maybe the whole theme of this Jupiter sextile Uranus and this week and this month. It's like, it's revival time. And everything that's happening is because it's about awakening, right? This is what we came for. And so be like, all right, here we are in a spiritual awakening. And this is the feeling with all this Pluto transits. It's like trying to find your center while the structures of your psyche and your world and your physical structures in our world are just falling apart and dissolving, right? It's just like, and that's an interesting energy because with the sun in Pisces has this energy of just dissolving and like the blurring of the lines and confusion and delusion, and a feeling of kind of losing a sense of who you are. And that's kind of fits the whole energy of these times. Ego death, we're coming back into the oneness principle of who we really are, out of duality thinking. It's not fun to have these structures fall away. A lot of times it's good and healthy a lot of times, but when you're going through that ego death experience, the breakdown of the constructs of the conditioning and the identity constructs, it's like a lot of us think we've overcome all that, but then when we get to this, we'll get to a place where it just feels like we're losing everything. We don't know who we are. We're going crazy. We're dying. You'll always get a message that you're going to die. And it's like, no, that's your ego trying to scare you away from getting rid of, from not your mind, the psychological control mechanisms, right? And, but it's like, it feels like being ripped apart because we have been in order to survive here, we had to be invested in our lower personality constructs. Like it was survival. And so it does feel like we're dying or unsafe completely because it's like we're ripping apart and what's left, and who am I? And and ultimately we're overcoming that fear of death, right? Like completely and fully knowing that it's ridiculous. Fear, false evidence appearing real. It doesn't exist. Death doesn't exist. This is what I want to say. Those people with 4 masks on in their car alone, what are you so scared of? That are like cowering away from you. It's like, what are you so scared of? you know? That face diaper is not going to save you. um, so, wow, what a crazy time that we live in. I'm so glad we're here together. And just remember, it's all about awakening. And this is the great awakening. The masses are coming too. And it's going to be freaking wild ride. Apart, what's going on? We've talked about the North Node and trying to Pluto, and that puts the Pluto in a sextile relationship to the South Node in Scorpio. We haven't talked much about this, but super activated now because that North Node will also be Venus and Mars will be trying the North Node at the end of the month, and so that means they'll be sextile the South Node as well. And sextiles give creative solutions and possibilities, right? And that's that like the spiritual awakening energy of Uranus and Jupiter. It's very powerful, expansion, just like breaking down the walls and barriers and the activation, vibrational activation. Great possibilities for that. And then the sextile with the South Node in Scorpio is darkness from the past, or things that have been hidden in the past. It's about exposure. And it's actually a really beautiful thing because, for so long, the reason why we got so messed up on this planet is because the forces of control were hidden. And now we're in a time where it's like they're being forced to expose themselves. It's just exposing, right? Oz behind the curtain. Oz, he's not scary. He's just a little, the intimidation tactics are not working anymore. Because it's like we're just, and it's all, and so maybe whatever you're going through, because we are having Piscean age blooming stuff, right? Fears and dark stuff and this stuff in our psyche. But it's like, it's only scary while it's in the dark. You bring it out into the light, exposure. And so what's going on is we've had all of this value in our world put on things that have no substance to back it up. Right? Like how about those narcissist people that we've been taught to worship? No substance. Our money, just paper. There's nothing to back it up. They just print more and just continue to manipulate it and then charge us taxes on it and steal from us. So we're whatever's false and doesn't have substance to back it up is being exposed. And this is powerful for supernova souls, although not fun sometimes, but that's what's going on with relationships is, really clearly being shown. Whereas before, I know for supernova souls, it was like, we've been so manipulated and you'd be like, well, this person, I can't tell if they're actually loving and good or if they're just pretending now, or how can I trust? And now it's like, it's clear, black and white, right? Clear as day. We live in a surveillance society. We're all under complete and total surveillance. You would not believe the file they have on each and every one of you. So no more secrets. Everything will be revealed. And that's what this South Node Scorpio is saying. But the sextile energy with Venus, Mars, Vesta, Pluto, into the sextile with the South Node, it's saying there's solutions here, right? Just let's look at the dark a little bit. Expose the dark, clean it up. We can harmonize this process. Okay. Doesn't have to be, and I guess that's what's trying to happen and why it's taking so long. And supernova souls, as I said, that I got this huge message and picture of how powerful of a role you're playing right now. A lot of the messages with this Vesta activation, our sacred work being activated in Capricorn, just like the sign of work and leadership. And it's powerful energy with Vesta. And and kind of the message is it's time to come here. It's time to get to work on what we came here to do. And so that's an interesting energy that might be helpful in this like shifting perspective, kind of being like, everything is helping me do what okay, it looks like I'm being totally effed with and distracted and blah, smeared with some kind of slime, but it's all working for me to get me to my sacred work. And it's validating the power of the role that you play. And that was kind of a cool picture because like, oh, get to work on the work we came here to do. But then there was that, very powerful message came through as I was speaking to you that just knowing who you being here and being present and being conscious and breathing and existing on earth is playing such an important role. You have no idea. And no wonder you're so exhausted. We're all so exhausted. It's like we're in the spiritual battle of this whole evolution, it's like the peak, we're coming to this, and then there's that other reflection of like, yeah, I get to be a part of this. I get to go do this. I get to fight this demon, and it's making you have unshakable faith and take all of your power back and claim your sovereignty and know who you are in your soul. So keep up the good work, supernova souls. You're so amazing. And it's such an honor to work with you. And I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.